When I was 18, I found out my college fund was gone, wiped out to pay for my sister's dream wedding in Santorini. But the money wasn't what shattered me. It was my mom's laugh. And the way she said it like my future was a joke she didn't even have to explain. My name's Ethan. I'm 22 now, and I still remember that moment like it's burned behind my eyes. From the outside, my family looked normal. Middle-class suburb. 2 parents. 1 older sister, Nicole, and our golden retriever, Bailey, who honestly treated me better than most humans did. We had the whole postcard set up. Polite smiles, backyard swing set, holiday photos with matching sweaters. But inside our house, there was a quiet hierarchy. Nicole was the queen bee. I was the bench warmer no one remembered to pass the ball to. Nicole was everything my parents wanted. Charismatic, photogenic, ambitious in the kind of way that looks great on social media. Prom queen, student council president. Early admission to a small liberal arts college with a tuition bill that made my stomach hurt just hearing it. My parents used to beam when they talked about her. "She's going places," my dad would say, eyes lighting up like he was introducing the next president. When it came to me, their tone shifted into something smaller. "Ethan's, well, he's a good kid." That was always the line. A good kid. The phrase people use when they don't know what else to say. And for a long time, I didn't resent Nicole. Not at first. I told myself maybe I just hadn't found my thing yet. I was decent in school, especially math, and I spent my free time in the garage fixing old electronics. I wasn't flashy, but I was serious. I had plans. Big ones. I'd been dreaming about Georgia Tech since I was 15. I spent 2 years researching programs, building my GPA, applying for scholarships. I even got accepted into a pre-college summer program and had a full spreadsheet tracking deadlines, tuition costs, dorm essentials. I was ready, or at least I thought I was. The thing is, my parents had always promised college savings for both of us. Not trust fund rich, but enough help that if we got into a good school, we wouldn't drown before we even started. I believed them. Every birthday card from my grandma came with a crisp $50 check marked for college. My part-time job paychecks in high school, I saved them and deposited them into that same account. That account wasn't just money to me. It was my future. So when Nicole got engaged right after graduating, no job yet, no real-world experience, and announced she wanted a destination wedding because it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, I didn't think much of it. Sure, it sounded expensive. Sure. My mom started spending hours scrolling wedding Pinterest boards, but I assumed they had savings. Or Jason's family had money. Jason looked like the type, tall, polished, always wearing loafers with no socks like he was born at a country club. I didn't realize the truth until a week before my high school graduation. That week was supposed to be mine. I'd gotten my acceptance letter from Georgia Tech, and I was floating. I walked into the kitchen holding that envelope like it was a trophy. My dad was reading the paper. My mom was mixing something in a bowl. Nicole was on speakerphone with someone, probably a wedding planner. I said it out loud, smiling so hard my face hurt. I got in. Full acceptance. No one looked up. I remember the silence, the way it didn't even register. So I cleared my throat and said it again. Louder. Nicole rolled her eyes like I was interrupting something important. "Ethan, can you keep it down? I'm on a call about the welcome brunch in Mykonos." "Mykonos." I blinked. "I thought your wedding was in Santorini." She shrugged like it was nothing. "We're doing both. It's all part of the experience." I actually laughed at first because it sounded so ridiculous. "Wait, what? Isn't that insanely expensive?" Nicole smiled like a cat that already ate the canary. "Oh, it's taken care of." That's when my stomach tightened and I turned to my mom. "Wait, what does that mean?" She finally stopped stirring the batter and looked at me with that calm, sweet tone she used whenever she wanted to slide past something big. "We had to move some things around, sweetheart." My throat went dry. "You guys didn't use my college savings for this, right?" My dad rustled the newspaper like he was annoyed I'd spoken. My mom gave me this soft smile, like she was soothing a child throwing a tantrum. Nicole's wedding is a once-in-a-lifetime event. I stood there frozen, trying to make her say the words. You mean, my college fund? She didn't deny it. She just said it like it was obvious. You can always take out loans. Plenty of kids do. Couldn't even breathe right. But I've been saving for that since I was 13, I said. Grandma's checks, my jobs, everything went into that account. My mom shrugged. And now you're helping your sister start her life. That's what family does. Then she laughed. That dry, dismissive laugh. And she hit me with the line that still makes my chest tighten just thinking about it. Besides, you're not exactly Harvard material. She didn't even look sorry. She looked entertained. Like my dream was cute. Like my future was a fantasy. I didn't scream. I didn't argue. I didn't do anything dramatic. I just walked out of the kitchen, went upstairs, and sat in my room staring at my acceptance letter like it had turned into a joke overnight. I don't know how long I sat there. Hours, maybe. Bailey patted in at one point and rested his head on my knee like he knew something was wrong. Like he was the only one in that house who actually cared. That night, I didn't sleep. I replayed every birthday, every shift at my part-time job. Every weekend I skipped hanging out with friends because I was saving. Saving for something that apparently didn't even belong to me. And the part that messed me up the most? My parents didn't treat it like betrayal. They treated it like a practical decision. Like Nicole's wedding mattered more than anything I had ever wanted. I didn't go to my graduation dinner after that. Nicole texted me a selfie from a bridal boutique with 3 dress options and wrote, "Which one makes me look like a goddess?" I never answered, because the truth hit me hard. It wasn't just the money. It was the casual cruelty. The way they dismissed me like I was the spare part. After that, everything changed. I stopped trusting them. Stopped believing in family-first speeches. Stopped hoping for approval I was never going to get. But I didn't give up on Georgia Tech. I took out loans. I applied for every scholarship I could find. I sold my vintage game collection online. And freshman year, I worked 3 jobs, tutoring math, fixing computers, delivery driving at night. I didn't tell my parents anything. They didn't ask. Nicole's wedding was a week before my first day of classes. I didn't go. Instead, I moved into my dorm with 1 duffel bag and a secondhand laptop. And I made myself a promise. They were never taking anything from me again. What I didn't expect was that 4 years later, after all that, they'd come back. Not with an apology, with a favor. By then, I'd barely spoken to my parents. Maybe a stiff happy birthday text. A dry Christmas message. That was it. Life was better that way. Quieter. Focused. I graduated with debt, yes, but also with momentum. I got a tech support job straight out of college. Nothing glamorous, but it paid enough to breathe. And I started freelancing on the side, back-end work, troubleshooting, fixing systems for small businesses. Within a year, I had steady clients, a little home office, and my first real taste of independence. Nicole, meanwhile, was still living online. Florence, Bali, self-care, finding myself, what she never posted. A job, because she didn't really have one. She tried a lifestyle blog, a YouTube channel, even a jewelry brand that collapsed in 6 months. Jason worked in consulting, which always sounded like code for someone else is funding this. I kept my distance, not even out of spite, just self-preservation. Every time I peeked into their world, that old hollow feeling crawled back. Then one afternoon, I'm eating leftover pasta at my desk, and my phone lights up. Mom calling. I stared at it like it was a trap. I let it ring out. A few minutes later, a text. "Ethan, we need to talk. It's about Nicole." I didn't reply. The next morning, another text. "Please, just a few minutes. It's important." Against my better judgment, I called back. She picked up fast, breathless, like she'd been pacing. "Oh, Ethan, Thank you for calling. I know things have been distant, but we need your help. No hello. No, how are you? Just we need your help. With what? I asked. It's Nicole, she said, voice cracking. She's getting a divorce. I blinked. What? She rushed through it. Jason cheating. Walking out. Accounts frozen. House in his name. Nicole has nothing. No income, no assets. She's in pieces. Then she landed on the real reason she called. The lawyer fees are astronomical, she said. We were hoping, praying, maybe you could help, just for now. I stayed silent because my brain was trying not to explode. You want me, I said slowly, to pay for Nicole's divorce? Well, not all of it, she stammered. Maybe just help cover the retainer. I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was unreal. Mom, 4 years ago you used my college savings so she could throw rose petals in Greece. Now you want me to bail her out. That's not fair, she said quickly. No, I snapped. You drained the one thing I had to build my future. Then you told me I wasn't Harvard material and to take out loans. And now you're asking me to cover her legal bills. She hesitated. People make mistakes. You didn't care how it turned out, I said. You gambled with my future. And now that she screwed up hers, you want me to fix it. Her voice hardened. We're still your family, aren't we? That ended the call. I thought that would be it. I thought she'd go back to pretending I didn't exist. But I underestimated how desperate they were. 3 days later, Nicole showed up at my apartment. I opened the door and there she was. Same glossy hair, same, I'm important energy, but this time hiding behind oversized sunglasses. She walked past me like she owned the place and dropped onto my couch. I know what Mom said, she started. I just want to be honest. This isn't just about me. It's about showing Jason I have support. I leaned against the door, not moving. You didn't have support for me when you emptied my college account. She waved her hand like I was bringing up some petty childhood argument. Oh, come on. That was years ago. Are you still holding on to that? Yes, I said flatly. She sighed. Ethan, this divorce is serious. I'm gonna lose everything. The apartment, the car, even Bailey. That name hit me in the gut. Bailey, I said. Our Bailey. She nodded. Jason took him. Said he needed emotional support. Can you believe that? I wanted to scream. Bailey had been my dog. I begged for him when I was 10. But when I left for college, they decided he'd be Nicole's dog because she was around more. And now Jason had him. I clenched my jaw hard. That sucks, I said. But I'm not funding your legal team. Her voice sharpened. So you're just going to watch your sister go down in flames? No, I said. I'm going to watch you learn what it feels like to clean up your own mess. She stood up, face red. Wow, all that talk about being the bigger person was just noise. I looked her right in the eye. No, that's why I'm not slamming the door in your face. That's also why I'm asking you to leave. Her mouth fell open like she couldn't process being told no. You're seriously kicking me out? I have a call in 5 minutes, I said, opening the door. She stared at me like she didn't recognize who I was. Good, because I wasn't the same kid who patched her Wi-Fi while she shopped. I wasn't the quiet little brother who stayed home while she flew to islands and posted selfies. I wasn't someone she could control anymore. A week passed. Then emails started coming. Dad, Mom, Nicole. A long one titled, An Open Letter to My Brother. Each one more manipulative than the last. Guilt, flattery, emotional blackmail. They even CC'd relatives, trying to turn it into a family pressure campaign. Then came the moment that snapped something inside me for good. 2 weeks later, I'm grabbing coffee near my building when my phone rings from a number I don't know. I answered distracted. Hello, Ethan. This is Amanda. I'm Nicole's lawyer. I stopped walking. Why are you calling me? I understand there's been some disagreement about financial assistance, she said smoothly. Nicole listed you as a potential lender on her application. We'd like to confirm whether you're contributing toward her retainer. My heart started pounding. I'm sorry, what? She indicated you agreed to help. We just need a verbal confirmation. I felt my whole face go cold. That's a lie, I said. There was a pause. Even the lawyer sounded thrown off. Oh, apologies. I'll update the record. I hung up and just stood there staring at my phone. Nicole didn't just ask for help. She pretended I gave it. She used my name like a tool. And that's when it stopped being about money. It became about principle, about truth, about finally drawing a line they couldn't erase with fake tears and family guilt. I went home, opened my laptop, and started planning. I didn't sleep that night because her voice kept replaying in my head. Cool, professional, unaware of the wrecking ball she'd swung through my life. And what hit me hardest was how calculated it was. Nicole had planned to use my name, like I was still a resource, like I was still the backup plan. I paced my apartment until dawn, asking myself the same question over and over. How many times am I going to let them do this? And for the first time, my answer wasn't anger. It was resolve. I went quiet for a few weeks. No replies, no arguments, just silence. I hit a low point. Ramen noodles. Dishes piled up. Blinds shut. I couldn't explain it to friends because most of them had families that didn't steal from them. Then one night at 2 a.m., sitting on my floor, I got an automated reminder that my loan payment was due. Loans that existed because my parents bet against my future. And something in me clicked. Not bitterness. Focus. I stood up and cleaned my entire apartment top to bottom right then. Like I needed my environment to match the clarity in my head. Then I got to work. Real work. I revamped my freelance site, updated my LinkedIn, rewrote my service descriptions, built a real pitch deck, started reaching out to clients with confidence instead of hope. Within 2 weeks, I had 3 new clients. Then 5. I tracked everything: hours, profit margins, retention. I started posting helpful tips in developer communities, and people began noticing. My inbox filled with inquiries without me even pitching. One post went mildly viral, and it connected me to an incubator in Atlanta. That led to back-end work for multiple startups. And the more I worked, the more I remembered why I love tech. Because code made sense. Inputs led to outputs. Logic mattered. There were no shifting loyalties, no passive-aggressive comments, no family politics. Just results. By month 3, I paid off 1 loan. By month 4, I upgraded my laptop. I kept building. Quietly. No flexing. And one night, I wrote something in a notebook that became my mantra. If they couldn't see my worth when I had nothing, they don't get to benefit from me now that I'm building everything. I taped it above my desk. Months passed. I got healthier, started jogging, started meal prepping, reconnected with an old college friend, Jared, who ran a small web dev company. I joined part-time, and now I had stable income plus freelancing. Then we partnered on projects. One got pitched to an angel network. Panelist remembered me. A few months later, he reached out with an opportunity. By the time I turned 23, I wasn't just surviving anymore. I had my own LLC, a growing SaaS project, most of my debt paid down, a small emergency fund. I wasn't rich, but I was free. Free from the narrative they wrote for me. Free from being the spare. And that should have been the ending. But life circles back. Because just when I thought I was finally out of their orbit, Nicole came back again. This time, she didn't come with tears or lawyers. She came with receipts. It started with a knock at my apartment door just after 10 p.m. 3 sharp knocks. I checked my camera feed first, and there she was, arms folded, head tilted, like she was already annoyed. I almost didn't open the door, but curiosity won. Nicole looked different. Tired. Not had a long day, tired. more like something had cracked and she couldn't glue it back together. Her hair was still sleek, but her eyes were sunken. The shine she always wore like armor was dulled. She didn't speak at first, just stood there holding a manila folder like she didn't trust herself not to shake. "Ethan," she said finally, "I need to show you something." I didn't move. "Last time you showed me something, you lied to your lawyer and used my name." "I know," she said, looking down, "and I was wrong. That's not what this is." Against my better judgment, I let her in. She sat on my couch like she had 100 times before, but this time she didn't look like she belonged there. No entitlement, no smugness, just exhaustion. "I'm not here to ask for money," she said, placing the folder on the table. "I'm here because I found out something about Mom and Dad, something you deserve to know." I raised an eyebrow. "Go on." She opened the folder and pulled out paperwork, bank statements, notarized letters. And at the top was an account I recognized immediately. The joint account I used to deposit birthday checks into as a teenager. She slid the first page to me. "Do you remember the money Grandma left us?" My stomach dropped. My grandmother, Dad's mom, had died when I was 14. She wasn't warm, but she was consistent. Always those crisp bills in birthday cards. "She left us each a trust," Nicole said. "Separate ones. Yours was 50,000. Mine was 50,000. Locked until age 18. For education or housing." I stared at her. "I didn't know," I whispered. "I didn't either," she said. "Not until my divorce attorney found a weird transfer from my trust account into Mom and Dad's savings. I started digging." She pointed to the date on the paper. 3 weeks before her wedding. My mouth went dry. "They used your inheritance," Nicole said quietly. "Not just your college fund. Your inheritance." I flipped pages, reading faster, heart pounding. There it was. A custodial account in my name. Withdrawn. Transferred. Rerouted into my parents' account. "They falsified an educational waiver," Nicole said. "Claimed it was for your tuition so they could access it early. Then they spent it." "That's not legal," I muttered. "My lawyer says it's provable," she replied. "With enough digging." I sat back dizzy. They didn't just betray me. They committed fraud against their own son. Against me. I looked at Nicole. "Why are you showing me this now?" She hesitated, then said something I never expected from her. "Because I owe you, and because I finally understand what they did to you." She swallowed. "When Jason left, they didn't help me. Not really. I begged for legal help and Mom said, 'Well, you chose that man.'" She gave a bitter little laugh. "The same people who moved heaven and earth for my wedding wouldn't spare a dime for my divorce." Her eyes filled slightly, but she didn't perform it. She didn't turn it into a show. "I thought I was the golden child," she said. "Turns out I was just useful. And when I wasn't useful anymore." She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't have to. I just sat there looking at her, trying to absorb this version of Nicole, the cracked, honest version who finally saw the machine from the outside. "I don't expect forgiveness," she said softly. "But if you want to do something about it, you deserve to have the tools." Then she stood and headed for the door. Right before she left, she turned back. "They underestimated you, Ethan," she said. "I did too. But I think they're about to learn what a mistake that was." And when the door closed, I stood there staring at the folder like it was a weapon. Because suddenly, for the first time, I wasn't just running away from them. I had proof. Legal proof. Financial proof. Power. Real, undeniable power. I spent the next 3 days going through everything. Cross-referencing documents, making copies, backups of backups, uploading it to a secure drive. I shared access with an attorney friend, Monica, who'd helped me with a contract dispute once. She looked at the trust records and just exhaled. "Oh yeah," she said. "This is bad. You've got grounds." "Civil?" I asked. "Absolutely," she said. And if you want to go nuclear, there's a fraud angle too. But that gets ugly. I thought about it. Then I said, I don't want to destroy them. I just want what's mine. Monica nodded. Then we do it by the book. Over the next few weeks, we built the case quietly. Nicole sent more documents. We found patterns, other small misuses of funds, irregularities with Nicole's trust too. I tracked my student loans, every payment, every interest fee, every overtime month I worked because of their lie. All of it documented. And then I found the final piece. An old email from my dad when I was 17. The subject line, scholarship forms. He told me not to apply for certain aid programs because it would mess with the trust fund payout. We don't want to complicate things, he wrote. At the time I'd been confused. Now I understood. They weren't protecting my future. They were buying time to reroute it. That email sealed it. By the end of the month, our file was thick enough to fill a briefcase. But I didn't go to court yet, because something better was coming. A moment they couldn't wiggle out of. A moment where the spotlight would be on them. See, my parents built their entire reputation on appearances. Community pillars. Dad on a mentorship board. Mom treasurer of the neighborhood association. Fundraisers, plaques, garden parties, smiling photos. And next month, they were being honored at a local gala for outstanding family contributions. The irony almost knocked me out of my chair. I RSVP'd anonymously. Then I started preparing. Not a tantrum, not a scene, just the truth. Neatly packaged, legally backed, perfectly timed. They taught me everything about appearances. Now I was going to show them what happens when the curtain falls. And this time I wasn't backing down.